Alrighty, good morning, everyone. We will kick off the webinar in a few minutes, just giving some folks some time to join and get set up. Perfect. I see folks coming in right now. All right. Looks like we still got a few more people coming in. Give it another 10 seconds or so. Oh. Got some more coming in. Okay. Perfect. I think we're good. We will kick it off. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Income Lab webinar today. We are so excited. We got a special one for everyone today with our two co-founders on as well. We're excited to really talk about the launch of Lifehub, how that really relates to the work we've been doing at Income Lab, and really for people who are new to Income Lab in general, really give you a chance to hear from our co-founders on why we do what we do and why we're so excited about Lifehub and what that means to our advisors and the clients they service. To kick it off, you will see in our webinar after the presentation, we will have a Q&A section. So go ahead, jot down your questions in the Q&A so everyone else can see. And then afterwards, we will walk through each question for our co-founders to answer and give some pointers and feedback as well. We'll also have the chat where you can use the chat to chat with other folks in the webinar or just share additional comments or things like that as well. So feel free to use the chat. If you have any questions throughout that aren't related and just more directly towards me, you could directly chat me as well. Outside of that, I will go ahead. I see, Justin, you already got the screen pulled up, so I'll go ahead and hand it off to you and we'll get this going.
Great. Thank you, Malcolm, and thanks everybody for joining us today. Really excited about the launch of Lifehub. I'm going to start by kind of providing an introduction to Income Lab more broadly, and then outline kind of why Lifehub was necessary and kind of the vision for what it can do for your practice. So Income Lab is already known for providing the best in dynamic income planning for retirement, and along with that, tax smart distribution planning. And in developing that technology, we've always sought to provide kind of clean, understandable user interfaces and tools that can really kind of enhance your clients' experiences and your experiences as well as advisors. And so I want to just go over the baseline of kind of what's in Income Lab already, and then we'll be able to connect that to what Lifehub is doing for you. So here's kind of the main dashboard for a dynamic income plan on Income Lab. So this is an example household with a complicated set of circumstances, like most households, right? Different longevity assumptions and investment accounts and Social Security cash flows, maybe rental properties, earned income in pre-retirement period, and so on. But that's all boiled down in this screen to kind of the main numbers that someone would see if they're focused on retirement income and they'd want to see on a regular cadence. So their proposed income level from which they can understand their spending possibilities, and then also the income adjustment plan. So what would it take for this plan to suggest a change? Because on Income Lab, we're very focused on being reality-based, and in reality, people don't run out of money, at least not when they have advisors. Instead, they adjust, just like in their working years. People make adjustments as their circumstances change. And so Income Lab income plans are very focused on facilitating a discussion about adjustments that is really clear, dollar-based, and so on. So this is at a really nice level of abstraction. It focuses clients on some some key numbers. You can also go into the tax center and ask and answer really important questions about, okay, given that this is my income level, a certain amount of that is going to be in withdrawals from my portfolio. How exactly am I going to source those withdrawals in a way that makes sense for my tax situation? And so in the tax center, you can explore, all sorts of things about how the income is made up, how it lines up in the in tax brackets. Maybe there are Roth conversions, all sorts of deep exploration of the plan from a tax perspective. The vision for Lifehub is really tied into providing more visibility and clarity into the client situation. So Lifehub it's a one-page dynamic visualization of a household's financial life. So it's really meant to drive understanding and clarity of a client's situation and a plan. And crucially, like other things in Income Lab, it's built so that there's no extra work needed by you or by a client in order to use it. So the vision is that we'd have one place where advisors and clients can see their whole financial life, their whole retirement plan, if it's a retirement plan, just in one place at any level of detail at any point in time, with no added data entry. So the issue was, we saw different levels of abstraction, different ways of presenting crucial ideas like income adjustments or tax smart distribution planning, but there was no one place to kind of understand the entire plan. You kind of would have had to click to lots of different places and so on. And this is not, a problem, just faced by Income Lab. It's any complex software has this issue, but we've found through working with advisors and clients that having a way to kind of distill the entire situation into one screen, where you can highlight particular areas, you can do, edits and additions on the fly, was incredibly powerful for the client engagement, for the planning process, even just for business processes, being able to kind of get literally a view of a client situation very quickly. And so that's really the vision behind this newest part of Income Lab. The team, the engineering team, the product team, everybody's been working hard on this. We had over 200 advisors beta testing Income Lab. And we really built this for all parts of your business. So whether it's prospects, existing clients, or like I said, for understanding clients, that's what it's for. It's built to be integrated into the dynamic income planning and tax smart distribution planning sections of Income Lab. So again, everything is connected. These are not separate. And so it's a way to minimize duplicate data entry and things like that. So for any household that you have, you'll already have a Lifehub view of their main household plan. So now I want to turn it over to Johnny Paulson to give us a deeper dive into some examples and kind of how to use this in your practice.
Thank you very much, Justin. And again, want to second him in saying thank you very much for joining us on this Tuesday morning. We are super excited about launching Income Lab. And really the launch of Income Lab was all about us trying to improve both the advisor as well as the consumer experience. And in doing so, what we try to do at Income Lab is we work with our users, our advisors, to sort of get their feedback to create a platform that is built by advisors for advisors. So in the process, we had more than 200 beta users helping us out, really trying to dial it in for the best possible use that fit your services. And in doing so, we really got a lot of sort of best use cases shared with us. And there's one specific comment by one of our users who is a very successful advisor that just stood out to me. He said, Lifehub does two things for me. It helps me be a better advisor, and it makes my life easier. And I gotta admit, I had a big smile on my face when I heard that. And I think if we could simply accomplish that, Lifehub has been a big winner. But that said, let me share my screen with you as well. So again, we got a lot of feedback in sort of, what is the best use case for Lifehub? And for the purpose of today's conversation, and wanted to share sort of three of them. One is how Lifehub can improve the experience around client onboarding and also help increase the conversion rates when talking to new prospects. The second piece is how it improves the user experience when you do planning as an ongoing service. So, clearly when you build the first plan, whether that's for a client and or a prospect, you probably want to get into all the details Justin was just talking about, the dynamic plan, the specifics, and so on. But what we hear from our advisors is that once planning turns into planning as an ongoing service, you may be several years into this planning relationship, you no longer want to go into every single detail of it. And Lifehub is really a good place to sort of facilitate the planning as an ongoing service process. And last but not least, want to talk about how we believe Lifehub is a much improved experience for pre-retirees. So people that may be 5, 10, or even further out of retirement. So let's talk about using Lifehub as an onboarding experience. What we hear from our advisors is they like to have this particular view up when potential prospects come in. And it allows them to really start a good conversation going something like this. Mr. and Mrs. Clients, thank you very much for joining me today. As you can see, I've already entered your data into the program here, but I want to make sure that I got all the data correct. Will you please take some time to make sure we got it all right? And I actually had the pleasure of sitting in on a advisors client meeting just last week. One of the first things the prospect said was, well, I guess I forgot to tell you, I have a Charles Schwab account as well. And as you can see, it's very easy to do data entry as well directly from Lifehub. You go in, it's an investment account. You can go to any account, name the account, balance, tax type, cost basis, and you can change the asset allocation as well. So very easy to sort of facilitate that conversation. And once you want to take the conversation a little deeper, you will also see that we can go, I'm a little far out in retirement here, but we can go into early retirement. Both Beth and Matt are not taking Social Security yet. They haven't filed, which is why you have the dotted line, but you can click here and you'll go directly to our Social Security model. You can choose all of the common ways to sort of estimate your Social Security. Once you've chosen a method, you can go down, you will see it's very easy to use and probably even more importantly, very easy to explain. So we have Beth, she's currently 62 years old. If she were to file today, she would get $22.30. If she waits till full retirement, which for her is 66 and 10 months old, she will get $31.49. For that to be a good decision, her life expectancy would have to be at least 78 and 10 months. You can move it to any point in retirement, and you can see what it'll do to her estimated income as well as break-even point. And you can literally go through the planning process and make sure everything is correct. You can see we have a long-term care policy here, or actually we're self-insurance, I should say. We're projecting an expense of $5,000 in today's dollars. We can see it's estimated to begin in August of 2052. So it's very easy to facilitate the conversation, then going in to have the dynamic planning conversation, tax mark conversation, and full circle back into Lifehub when you finish the conversation. Taking it into planning as an ongoing service. As I said, typically what we see is, yes, when you build the plan initially, clients absolutely want to go into great details around what the plan means. But when they come in for their regular checkup, whatever your cadence may be, every 6, 12 months and so on, we find this to be a very powerful place to start the conversation. Thank you for coming in, Mr. and Mrs. Clients. Wanted to make sure that our plan is still reflecting your reality. And again, to Justin's point, you can go into any level of detail. You can see, again, we haven't started Social Security yet. We still have some debt in here. You can see the projected taxes for this particular year. But clearly that could change going into the future. So we're going to say, well, what do we project this to look like, say, 10 years from now? Well, 10 years from now, you can see now both Beth and Matt are taking Social Security. You can see the estimated amounts here. We still have our rental property, but we're no longer working. You can see we're taking some income from our Fidelity account. It's also important to understand here that if you have a tax sourcing strategy deployed in the tax center, so it could be a strategy including Roth conversions, all of that will be reflected in Lifehub. So not only can you see where you're going to take your income from, if you're doing Roth conversions, it'll tell you what accounts to use for the Roth conversions. You can even go down and see we have detailed tax projections for every single year in the future. And in this particular case, we do have a Roth conversion strategy, which is why we're projecting very low taxation in the future. You can see that we're almost done paying off our debt. Matter of fact, in June of 2032, we expect to be completely done paying off our mortgages. You can also see on our timeline, you can see this is when we predict the mortgage will be paid off. We have milestones and so on. So what it allows you to do as an advisor, to Justin's point, when we see planning as an ongoing service, we may not remember exactly enter at every single field in 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it allows you to have one click to go in and explore anything or adjust anything. You maybe the rental income here has gone up to $2,600 a month. You can go in and change that right from Lifehub. Not only will it be reflected in Lifehub, but it'll then be reflected in the tax center as well as in the dynamic planning center as well. So very powerful for sort of facilitate planning as an ongoing service. Last but not least, one of the also great use cases we've seen is facilitating a conversation around retirement when retirement is not right now and it's not in the near future. You may be 10, 15 years out of retirement, and sort of the current retirement platforms may not be very meaningful to you. In particular, a probability of success for a plan that's not going to come due for another 15 years may not be particularly helpful for clients. And that's where we see the milestones that you can build in here are very helpful. You know, maybe if you're younger, your retirement age is all the way out here. You can have such stuff as we're going to pay off our kids' college education. We're going to maybe save up for the 529 plans. We are going to have a wedding in the future. All of that can be facilitated. You can sort of help clients walk through, younger clients that is, walk through their lives and help them, you know, hit their milestones. Also, what we've found is for pre-retirees, having, again, a one-page complete picture of their financial situation and having the ability to share with them how we project that to change at any point in the future. So if they're planning to retire maybe in 2038, they can see exactly what we expect their complete retirement picture to look like in 2038. Now, Markley, I think I'm going to stop here. It looks like we already have a lot of questions there, and I know you have a little bit of an announcement to make, so maybe you'll take it from here.
I will. Thanks, guys. And yeah, as you all can tell, we are super excited for the launch of Lifehub. And because of that, we do have a special going on through July for new users to get started for $20 a month for your first 3 months. So really a great opportunity to get your hands into Lifehub, get and see more of Income Lab as well at a really discounted price. To take advantage, really reach out to our team either through our website or just email us at info@incomelaboratory.com, and one of our sales team will reach out and help you get started on that special deal. But yes, Johnny, I see the questions coming in. So for anyone who hasn't seen the Q&A section, please take a look at that now. Drop your questions in there. And you can also like other people's questions to move them up in the queue. But other than that, we will get started. And let me just make sure I get them pulled up. All right. So first question, guys, is which plan does the Lifehub display? If the data is modified in Lifehub, which plan gets changed? Suppose a household has a base plan and 2 scenarios, while one of the scenarios is the implemented plan, which is Lifehub displaying and modifying.
Yeah, so currently what you see when you click on Lifehub is the household plan. We have already had people request that this view be available for plan scenarios, for A/B testing, and so on. So that is something we'll be working on, as well as for implemented plans. So stay tuned for some tweaks there, but the view will be the same.
Perfect. And next question is it possible to show the client's asset allocation in the Lifehub view at either the account or the portfolio level?
John, you want to take?
Yeah, so we can certainly do it at the account level. right here. So you can click on any account. You'll be able to see, what tax qualification you have. You can change that if you made a mistake, of course. You can look at the cost basis. You can look at the asset allocation, and you can change the asset allocation from here as well. So at the account level, you have the ability to see everything, sort of as it pertains to that particular account.
Awesome. And then is there going to be an additional charge for Lifehub?
This is included in the total package. But maybe in the future, if there's demand for different packages, different price points, that could happen. But at the moment, this is part of the whole Income Lab package.
And wanted to add to that, want to make sure that when Markley spoke about the special we have, it's not just for Lifehub. That is for access to the entire Income Lab platform, including dynamic planning, tax smart sourcing, as well as Lifehub.
Perfect. Next question here is, will the pills, I think we call them, but the individual sections on Lifehub, will they be updated automatically each month so the client can go in and view what the monthly changes are?
So when this view is available for implemented plans, then that would definitely be done automatically. For the current system where it's the household plan, all you have to do is go in and click update values, and you would have up to, usually it would be last night's values.
Perfect. Next question here. It says, Lifehub seems to show Social Security income starting now rather than running for the full calendar year. The underlying plan has Social Security starting in 2020. Not sure if that's a comment just on this plan or a question, but
yeah, it should. So if it starts mid-year, it's showing year totals for income flows, things like that. For balances, it's showing beginning of year or current if we're in the middle of the year. But for future years, it's showing projected beginning of the year values. So I mean, if there's a plan in particular where you're seeing something that you have questions on, definitely reach out, via our service portal or just directly.
yeah. And I think even to notice, for example, like with this one where it's starting later, with cash flow starting later, you will see that the box will be dotted to kind of help you signify that, hey, it's 0 in this year, but sometime in the future, that there's going to be something in that box.
Yeah, if there's something that is always 0. So for example, in the tax section, you'll only see pills for taxes that are relevant at some point in the plan. So, if there's no local tax or no state tax in this plan, you won't even see the pill. For ones that say 0 and are dotted, it's saying, well, it's 0 this year, but there is a point in the future when this will be relevant.
Perfect. Next question here sounds like this advisor's with Asset Map, and they're asking, are you trying to replace eMoney or Money Guide Pro?
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say Income Lab is really focused on being kind of specialized income planning software. So no, that's not our strategic vision, and in practice, that hasn't been what our advisors have done. So a lot of advisors who use Income Lab also use some holistic financial planning software for other uses as well. So we exist alongside other planning software very easily.
Yeah, I'll take that one step further. I mean, when we look at our user base, the vast majority of them are using a different sort of holistic financial planning platform, right? They, eMoney or Money Guide Pro, the stuff that we have no interest in, right? We don't facilitate estate planning and that sort of thing. So we see ourselves as living next to eMoney, next to Money Guide Pro, next to Right Capital, and really, once you want to get serious around the retirement piece of it, that's when you start using Income Lab.
Perfect. Next question, it says, with the 200 advisors in the demo group, how are they using Income Lab? Are they only adding clients in who are retired and have income needs, clients 5 years from retirement, etc.?
Yeah, it's a good question. Clearly, when you have 200 beta testers or more, you have a lot of different use cases, and they don't all agree on how to use it in the best possible way. We have folks that only use us once it's sort of getting close to or in decumulation. So when the conversation around retirement planning becomes more serious, then just save as much as you can. We have others that love to use the milestone for pre-retirees, right? So I would definitely say we have very few that don't use this in the decumulation phase. Clearly, holistic based guardrails and the dynamic planning piece and tax sourcing is really important once you get close to, at, or in retirement. So, but I would say it really depends on the user. Some uses us for the entire sort of spectrum, and others are only using us for decumulation.
And next question here is, will advisors have to manually enter assets, liabilities, income into Lifehub, or is there integrations with Black Diamond or eMoney that they can take advantage of?
So there are integrations, and in particular for asset balances, that's going to be a really useful way to make sure that Lifehub is up to date. Integrations are the name of the game in this kind of technology. So we are continuing to add more and more integrations. Our engineering team is working on more as we speak, and we'll announce those when they become available. But yeah, Black Diamond, for example, we already have an integration there, and you can check our integration site for more information on that. There are things that you do have to enter, maybe a house value or particular liabilities and so on. But as we expand our integrations, more and more of that should be available with less data entry.
Let me add to that. Again, we're definitely trying to make our integrations more robust. And so you're going to see that in the upcoming months. But it's also important to understand that you only have to do data entry in one piece. So if you build an income lab plan sort of the regular way it was prior to Lifehub, this will be pre-populated. So you don't have to do extra data entry for Lifehub. If you choose to do the data entry, and we do hear a lot of our beta users liking the data entry piece of Lifehub because it's very easy to sort of talk your way through with clients, you will not have to do data entry anywhere else. And so, you either do data entry here or in our household stepper. And again, to add to that, for our tax smart distribution strategy, there is 0 data entry. So again, you're only doing data entry for all 3 components in one place.
And then this next one is from our beta user, and I think I understand this question, but it's saying non-retirement investment accounts aren't showing up under assets. And I think it's because of the renaming from the, so that section is now called making accounts, but Justin, you can.
Right. Yeah, that was a little unclear to some people. So we renamed them as banking accounts. So that's things like, CDs and savings and so on. You might be talking about some investment accounts marked not to be used in the plan for income. That is also something that we're kind of working on making clear which of those are there.
And then next question here is, have you thought about making a notes section in the individual fact areas, questions to ask clients, details, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, this is our launch of Lifehub. That does not mean this is the final version of Lifehub. So there is already a planned, I guess you could call it, 2.0 with a bunch of improvements. So building on what we have right now, including things like more specifics on particular items, notes, beneficiaries, the ability to have some other visualizations of little parts of the plan. So for example, on a mouse over seeing a graph of when Social Security starts and what those amounts are. So there are some enhancements already planned, including those.
And actually, to add to that, you should expect to soon have the ability to see our sort of next beta version of something, which is going to be a Sankey diagram that's sort of going to be part of Lifehub, but also show sort of the cash flows, expenses, that sort of thing.
Right.
And then I think it's kind of come back to the integrations specifically for the custodians, just any completion date available for importing client assets from various custodians. We do have that access available right now. Maybe just talk about which custodians do we currently offer integrations with.
Yeah, so here, I can actually, Johnny, if you want to let me share, I can. So if you go to our website, which is a great place to find videos and information and things about Income Lab, on the integrations page, you'll see a list of currently available integrations. So for custodians, we have TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, Pershing, Charles Schwab, SSG Interactive Brokers, other, there's CRMs like Redtail, reporting systems like Black Diamond, Blue Leaf, Riskalyze, and we are adding more to these.
Awesome. And next question here is back to Lifehub. How is the Social Security break-even calculated compared to age 62? Can we modify the assumptions, example 65 versus 67?
Yeah, so the break-even calculations are done compared to if you filed as soon as possible. So if you're not yet 62, then it would be compared to 62. But if you're already, 65 or something, it would be compared to that. And it's really just saying, how long would you have to live to make up for the income that you didn't take by deferring. And so, that's the basic calculation here.
Perfect. And then is there a way to see the monthly proposed income for any year on the timeline?
Yeah, so really any year on the timeline, this income number will show the total income. Now, if you have a Roth conversion strategy or something, it's going to show the Roth conversions here. You'll see some of those being, I'm in a different environment than Johnny, so you'll see some designs we're working on, just some tweaks, but you would see those, moving over to other accounts in the savings and transfers section. But this number right here, total income, will be the income for the year. And there are a lot of functionalities that we haven't shown on the demo, including you can change what level you're looking at. So maybe, for clients coming in, you would just have these open, right, and look at those first in order to avoid kind of a too much information on the screen. You can click, immediately to different levels of views. You can, maybe only Tom is in the office today. We can just focus on his assets, for example. So there's a lot of, this is all very, very interactive and dynamic.
And that kind of follow-up question to this specific one as well is, in this example you're showing, why would you be taking portfolio withdrawals to make an income surplus of $102,000?
That's a really good question. So the surplus is really just comparing the budget you've built to the income plan. So the income plan for this particular income plan, which is built in kind of the default way, is answering the question, how much can I have? So it's, we've kind of put in everything that we know about the client's situation, including things like risk tolerances and so on. And this is what the plan is saying that this household can afford. Now, they may want to spend more or less than that. And so that's where you see the surplus, or, if it were the other way around, you would see a shortfall. So that's a good way to kind of say, okay, is the, what can I have? How well does that match the, what do I want? And in some cases, people, we found in talking with some clients that, if you ask, well, how much do you want? They would just say, well, how much can I have? So that's kind of where this came from. So you don't have to do in-depth budgeting. But if you want to, if that's part of your process, then you'll see here that comparison, right? So for example, now this is just uh, an example that I built, and they're not able to hit their complete budget. So that would be a time to either talk about pulling back on expenses or talk about other possibilities for building the income plan.
And next question here is, are any levels of Lifehub and reports to be client facing offline? I think it's more about, if an advisor wanted to give a client a report of Lifehub, kind of, is it available and how would they do so?
Johnny, do you have one available to show there?
I do. So there's sort of two ways of doing a report here in Lifehub. I gotta move you guys so I can see my screen here. It's actually problematic anyhow. So you can see there's this little arrow up here with sort of a box. You can click that to create a PDF. Think of this more of a camera. It's literally creating a snapshot of whatever you're looking at. So in this particular case, you just create a PDF here. You can pull it up and you will see the PDF here.
Yeah, so if you wanted it to be, a different level of zoom, right? Maybe you only want it to the, assets, liabilities, income, expenses. Maybe you want it to just expand a certain portion. Maybe you want it to be in a different year. That's what we mean by a snapshot or a camera. So whatever is on the screen, it will be turned into a PDF. So it's up to you what kind of detail you'd want for this particular version of the report.
There's also additionally, I don't have a PDF created here. It'll take a little time, but we do have a report center as well. We can create a Lifehub report. It's a little different format, maybe a little easier to read, a little prettier, that sort of thing. And the reporting capabilities is something we are also working on. We're always working on improving everything, including the reporting capabilities. So to Justin's point, you will see pretty much upgrades to Lifehub every cadence is every 2 weeks or so, because that's how our engineering team works. We have 2-week sprints, and so typically every 2 weeks we'll have new releases. So expect to see upgrades to the capabilities, and if you have any sort of use case suggestions as to how we can improve Lifehub, we would very much like to hear that from you.
And next one, and Johnny, you kind of covered this, but kind of a follow-up. Want to see, so can you add asset allocations at the portfolio level? So actually going back to kind of that easy edits, if you want to just kind of show users again, if you're adding a new account, how would they put in the asset allocation at that portfolio level?
Justin, can you please do that? I'm having a little issue with mine here.
Yeah, so the asset allocation for the total portfolio, all of the investment accounts, is a combination of what's in each account. So depending on whether you're using, there are 5 kind of risk-based defaults that are just, kind of very plain vanilla asset allocations, or, if I had model allocations that I can build and use everywhere, or, I can do it custom, meaning I can type into these. That's how you would make the adjustments. If I make an adjustment and save it, I'll see a little red, which shows that that's the thing that I've changed. And then once I've made all the changes that I want to make, I can hit refresh, and now I see a different. It'll have affected the income. In this case, if it was the the balance, for example, then you would see it affect the balance.
And next question here is going back to the integrations and how accounts get values get updated. Can you please comment again on how these values get updated? Are these links that the clients need to kind of drive and verify, or are they updated at the advisor custodian level via like a Fidelity data feed?
Yeah, so whichever you can set up as many integrations as you want, and then so this is a just a demo account, so I don't have any I don't have any integrations. It's actually not even in the production environment. So you would see more of these pills in your version. I can set up as many as these as I want. I'll have a list here. And then when I'm in a household, and in the assets section, when I'm building it, or I could do this in Lifehub, I would hit add linked accounts. And then I can choose from which integration I want to pull those in. So it could be that I have some linked accounts coming from one place, some from another, and different integrations have slightly different interfaces, but typically I'll be searching for a particular household. So usually there's kind of groupings of accounts depending on the integration partner. And so I'll find that household and link the accounts that I want. And then anytime I want, I can hit update linked accounts. Typically we would have amounts are only updated once a day. So, clicking this once a day would get you to where you need to be.
You talk about the Yodlee aggregate as well.
Right. So there's also, these are advisor credentialed integrations. So integrations with other systems that you use in your practice, whether that's a custodian or something else. We do also have an aggregator. We use InvestNet Yodlee, where you can do client credentialed integrations. So kind of, accounts that are held away or for whatever reason not already available through one of the other links that you have. So that in the client portal, clients can manage those integrations. So they would typically say, add linked account. They'll get a pop-up, choose some institution, put in their credentials, and choose which accounts to include. And then again, hitting add linked accounts, those client credentialed integrations will be available. Those aggregated values will be available as well to the advisor.
And the next question here is the account being used for Roth conversions highlighted in Lifehub? So i.e. not being used for spending, being used for Roth conversions, etc.
It's not specifically highlighted in a particular way, although that could be a design change, but it is shown at the and I don't recall here which, I think I had this as taxable, tax deferred, tax free. And so initially all my withdrawals are from taxable, but if I change this to a Roth conversion strategy, you'll see it change. Maybe I'll do 22% bracket just to make sure we're actually doing some Roth conversions. And so, again, maybe I just want to focus on this. You can see we're doing, all of these withdrawals from my IRA are actually Roth conversions. Whereas I have some other withdrawals from my brokerage account that I'm using to live on.
And then next question here is from a current user. Just any updates on the integration timing with Orion? And I can probably quickly answer that one. I've been kind of working on this. Yeah, we're super excited. Orion is our next upcoming integration. Our team is currently hard at work in the build right now. We will go through quality assurance in a testing phase. So that puts us about 2-3 weeks or so out still. But yeah, we are excited that Orion is on the roadmap and it is going to be our next upcoming integration for our users. And then this next one, it says, this is a little off topic, but the last time I was entering a plan, now it's been a while, so this may have changed. I couldn't see a way to tell the plan about charitable giving as a deductible expense, whether before age 70 and a half or after. when qualified charitable distributions make every dollar given from an IRA effectively a tax-free withdrawal. I guess, can you just touch on kind of that as well?
Yeah, QCDs and itemized deductions are on our product roadmap. It's a common request, and so it's high on the roadmap, but they're not currently available.
Perfect. And then kind of quick question on the integration one as well. So if a user has a Schwab as custodian and also uses Black's Diamond, is one integration preferred over the other?
That's really kind of I think there are arguments in both directions on whether to, connect every part of your tech stack to, directly to custodians, or to kind of daisy chain integrations together. I probably the advisors on this call would have some opinions on that that are more well informed than mine. So I might be something to put out to the community. Johnny, I don't know if you've seen kind of a trend in that. I do often see, parts of the tech stack, things like CRMs and portfolio reporting tend to have more modern API interfaces, so those can be a little bit more dependable.
Yeah, I mean, it's really on a case-by-case basis. I mean, I probably personally would do the sort of daisy chain version, because clearly the custodians are much more difficult to deal with when it comes to integrations, right? Typically, it'll take a week or so, whereas if you go to, say, a Black Diamond or Orion, that's more instant and a lot easier to do. But I guess at the end of the day, the custodians are sort of the source of truth as well, so you can make an argument for that as well. So I think it's really, a preference sort of thing.
And then next question here is one of our beta users here. So if they, question is, if I input a cash account under investments, I'd like to be able to reclassify under the description in Lifehub, but the banking account option isn't available. Essentially, they have to delete under investments and re-enter under banking accounts. Is there an easier way for kind of users to handle, maybe if they unintentionally put a cash account under an investment?
That's it's the first time I've heard that use case. It really makes a lot of sense to me. So no, there's not right now. You'd have to delete and enter a new one, but I like the idea. Yeah, let me write that down.
Next one here is love the milestones. Can you make custom milestones?
Currently, you cannot. Now, that said, anything that has a start date and an end date will show up as a milestone. It is on our product roadmap to have customizable milestones as well. So in the not too distant future, you will see that capability as well.
So if there's something that's financial that's in the plan with the start or end date, you will see a milestone. But yeah, if there were kind of life events, just nice little things, that's where we'll have a little a plus to add some of these pins.
And then next question here is what percentage of users are importing client account data, if you had to guess?
I don't know if I have a well-informed guess on that, John.
I was gonna say,
can you repeat the question, please?
They're wondering what percentage of users are importing client account data.
That's a fair question, and I don't have an answer to it. That would probably be something we should look into, but I don't have a good feeling for that.
Yeah, I'd say, I think from the onboarding team and what I've heard, it seems like the majority of users will at least have one integration. Now, whether that's a Yosely or, to your point, Riskalyze or Black Diamond versus the custodian, I'm not sure, but it does seem the majority of users will at least have kind of one integration set up so far as what we've seen. Next question is, will the PDF allow for the advisor's logo in place of Income Lab's logo?
In the report center, we already have white labeling of that sort. So you need to make sure that, at the firm admin level, there's a place to upload your logo, and that goes into the report. I think currently the report that's available through the download here does not include the white labeling, but that's definitely one that will be done.
you would see a lot of upgrades when it comes to sort of the PDF creations, and any suggestions you may have for better use purposes. We are definitely open to suggestions there.
Perfect. All right, guys, that was the last question here. We'll kind of open it up. If there's any last questions that users want to ask, please drop those in as well. And I did see we had something come through the chat, so let me just get caught up there real quick. Question here in the chat is it possible to show income generated from the portfolio as well as from dividends and interest as well as portfolio withdrawals?
We don't currently have kind of, so for the brokerage account, or I suppose it could even be interesting for tax deferred and tax free accounts. We don't sort of expose those in Lifehub. There are assumptions built in there that you can edit. And so as we expand kind of the details available when you click on these pills, those would be, clear places that we can add some extra color, to continue kind of making Lifehub this place where you can get that clarity and visibility all the way down. And looking for those, I'm not logged in as a firm admin, but if I were, you would see it under the settings section here.
And then we did have a follow-up question to the proposed income question, Justin. So kind of the follow-up question here is for this user, wouldn't I have to take the annual income less expenses and taxes divided by 12 to back into the monthly proposed income for any year exclusive of any special expenses, the regular recurring monthly proposed income for any year in that year in the future?
Yeah, I mean, because Lifehub is built to be annual, I mean, we could have built it monthly, but this is kind of a way to minimize confusion. So in the first year of retirement, you could see some variation. Maybe there's a bunch of wages and some retirement period. In future years, if there are some big planned outflows, things might be, like you say, not kind of that recurring income level. You would see, though, for example, the other variable expenses. You might see, for example, I don't know when the grandkids college. Oh, I guess it's up there. Okay, grandkids college is through 2032 for 2026. So, I would see, okay, I'm planning to put a bunch of money toward my grandkids college. That's not a recurring ongoing expense forever. And so that's one way to kind of do the math. There are other places, Lifehub is built to be annual. If you want to see things in a more monthly view, that's still available on the income plan. So for example, in the cash flows view, you would see income sourcing. There is a table that's annual down here, but these are monthly views, as you can see here, June 2029, there's more portfolio withdrawals because of that, funding some college, and you can kind of see more of the ongoing expense levels or ongoing income levels.
Perfect. And let me see, one more question here. Just a follow-up comment. We did get a few other comments from just users who are using it, and one person said, very impressive, Income Lab team, well done. And another person said, this is a powerful tool, thank you. And someone said, thank you all, can't wait to use this new tool. So we love the feedback, love to hear how our advisors are using Income Lab, but also specifically now using Lifehub. And as Johnny mentioned, we've already gotten some really great client experiences. So please keep sharing that with us. That always makes our day and makes us happy here. Outside of that, for all of our new potential users, please reach out to us about the special deal as well. We'd love to get you started, and you can reach out to our onboarding team as well to also get help through the onboarding stage. Outside of that, Johnny, Justin, We don't do this often, so thanks for both coming together. This has been a good one. We'll look forward to putting some more webinars on for next month. But outside of that, for all of our users, thanks so much for joining. Thank you for all of our beta users who took the time to help us build Lifehub progressively. As Justin mentioned, this is the launch, but we are still got some cool things lined up. So please stay in tune and please keep the feedback coming.
Thanks,
and we
everybody.
will send out the recording as well tomorrow. So for folks who couldn't watch the full thing, you
Thank
can
you,
do that
everyone.
as well. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you all on the next one.